Resident Evil 7: The Beginning Hour seems like Capcom is confronting criticisms of their previous action-oriented, boulder-punching, zombie-suplexing Resident Evil template. There's more of an emphasis on subtlety in The Beginning Hour, which is a welcome change of pace for the series. Plus, it's a smart move to try and adopt us Silent Hill fans after Konami all but pieced out of making console games. The story, as it stands in this teaser, which has no bearing on the final game, is largely Baby's first horror narrative. There are no themes at play, and no strong characters, just an annoying TV crew and a possible Blair Witch reference. You play as some unnamed guy who is locked in a creepy house for some reason and has to get out. You find a tape that lets you play as Clancy, a videographer with a GoPro that records 2 VHS tapes. Here, you get a little backstory about the house and its owners and learn more about your coworkers, which is good because, being a horror game, they're sure to live long, happy lives. Once the tape ends, you take control of Mark Question again, find a key to the front door of the house via a hidden door revealed in the VHS world, and get punched trying to leave. That's it. It's hard to analyze The Beginning Hour as hard as a game like PT because it's simply not trying to be anything but a virtual haunted house. Where PT had a wonderful meta-narrative about obsession and a specific history of events, The Beginning Hour struggles to even get its timeline right. The timecode on the first VHS tape says it started recording on June 1st, 2017 at 10:23 p.m. and ended recording an hour and 43 minutes later, which would make the end time June 2nd at 12:06 a.m. But the second VHS tape we see in the intro is dated June 1st, 2017 at 11:40 p.m. Doesn't exactly inspire confidence when your story can't even keep its timeline in order. I'm a fan of Resident Evil's new first-person perspective, which lends itself to the horror genre by limiting your view more than third-person, which helps build tension and unease. Previous Resident Evil games relied on limiting your view in third-person by physically obstructing it, which was a nice workaround at the time but felt inelegant overall, especially today. This game is simply not scary. There was a grand total of 1 time I was startled, and it was just a jump scare of a frickin' mannequin falling down. The majority of the game is spent channeling a Halloween haunted house, and not even a particularly good one. Just bowls of gross rotting food, mannequins, and a crow in the microwave. Oh, I just got that. Microwave. The sound design leaves much to be desired. Compared to PT, which is impossible not to do, the sound isn't used as effectively to ramp up tension. The Beginning Hour seems to want a more cinematic sound design, but audio just isn't used in a way that contributes to scares or tension, which is something PT did flawlessly. The graphics look decent, not photorealistic by any means, but they're on par with a game like Outlast. I got the feeling that these visuals could be pushed further if the game didn't need to hit high constant FPS specs required of VR games. And while we're on the topic, VR. There's no nice way to say this. VR is a gimmick, especially in its current lackluster, overpriced form. While Resident Evil 7 wants to provide a VR experience that's as close to the direct translation of its non-VR counterpart as you could hope for, people are already reporting how nauseating its teaser is on PSVR. This is bad when the manpower being devoted to getting the game working on VR could instead be helping to create a better gameplay experience to a core audience of non-VR players. I love the FPS combat in Condemned, and the Beginning Hour's combat feels a lot like that. At least as much as I can tell. The only weapon you get is an axe, and you can only use it on mannequins and boxes. Still, it swings nice, and combat is what will really set Resident Evil 7 apart from its non-combat FPS horror brethren, games like Amnesia, PT, and Outlast. There's something compelling about entering the past with a VHS tape to solve puzzles that has me somewhat hopeful about how puzzles in the main game will be handled. Yes, it wasn't used very effectively, but entering the VHS world to affect something in the main world has some interesting implications that I'd like to see in the full game. There's no mystery to solve, at least not yet. See, the objective of this game, which is shown to players at the beginning, is to get out of the house. But when you attempt to leave the house after finding a key to the front door, the so-called family man attacks you. A Capcom rep supposedly said there were 4 to 5 endings besides the main one, and there are 3 other confirmed endings where you answer a phone and also get Family Man, But it's unclear if these are the other endings that the Capcom rep was referring to. People, including myself, pored over this teaser to see if there was any hidden content in it, and while they found neat stuff like a Resident Evil 1 product ID hidden in one of the game's VHS tape slates, and all 7 locations of the ghost that appears in the VHS world, no one was able to get out of the house and truly beat the game. This was somewhat frustrating to players, and Capcom could have let them off the hook by saying all endings to the game have been found, but that didn't happen. Capcom is obviously trying to be mysterious here, but it's coming off as more misleading than anything. Overall, I'm interested in playing the finished Resident Evil 7, if only to find out how wacky the plot's going to get. The combat and puzzles might be entertaining at least. There's a lot to be hopeful for though, but the last time I was optimistic about a game it got cancelled and the company making it imploded, so